Welcome back, class. So far in this chapter we have learned about the transformation of the signals, characteristics of the periodic signals in terms of calculation of the fundamental period and checking whether the sum of the signals will be periodic or not. And then we have seen common signals in the engineering systems. Okay, unit step, rectangular, triangular, impulse. Okay. Now we are actually starting the last topic of this chapter, which is actually about the uh, continuous system properties, continuous time system properties. So as we briefly discussed in the first chapter, system is basically anything which is actually transforming the input to the output. Okay, transforming the input. For example, here we have x of t to the output. Okay, that is a system. Okay, so we have seen a lot of examples of the system in the first chapter. Okay, so for example, you have the input voltage. Okay, and your input is voltage. Okay, and for let's say your system is electrical heater, so output is in the form of the desired temperature. Okay, desired temperature, whatever temperature you want to get. Okay, so the input voltage, the three phase power supply to the electrical heater system is being converted to the temperature form. Okay, the desired temperature form. So the electrical heater is transforming the input voltage to the desired temperature. Okay, another example, a very common example is the amplifier example. Okay, so we have like a low input voice signal, and the amplifier will amplify this to the high amplitude system for the delivery of the voice to the public audience. Okay, for the large audience in the system. Okay, so the system is anything which is transforming. This is called transformation, transforming the input to some kind of the output. Okay, so there are different properties of the continuous time systems, and we are going to study those properties. Okay, the first two properties are memory and causality. Okay, so the memory, uh, a system is said to be have memory. Okay, uh, if like something is stored in that. Okay, if there is no stored data. Okay, it means the system doesn't have a memory. Okay, or we call this as a memoryless system. Okay, memoryless system, for example, if we take the example of the capacitor. Okay, so the capacitor will always could have some stored charge. So as soon as you connect with the, for example, a resistor here, so the discharge could happen. Okay, the stored charge could discharge. Okay, so there is some already stored data in the that system. So that system will be a memory system. Okay, because it has some stored data. Okay, for example, let's say I have one system which is like the amplifier. Okay, I have input and I am amplifying with that power of 5. Okay, now when t is equal to 0, because I am not supplying anything. Okay, so at that time, okay, so let's say the input is 0 at that time. Okay, at t is equal to 0, I am not supplying anything, my input is 0, so at that time output will be 0. Okay, so there is no stored data, there is no output. Okay, if there is no input, there is no output. Okay, there is no stored value, there is no stored charge which will be showing at the output, even if like I am not supplying any input. Okay, so this system is memoryless system. This system is with memory system. Okay, so I have one example for you guys. Okay, so let's say I have this system. So you have to check that whether this system is a memory or memoryless system. Okay. Then the second property is causality. Causality is actually the physical property of the system. Causality means that the system response will exist only if and only if when you apply the some input, okay, for t greater than 0. Okay. For example, let's say, okay, we are using an amplifier. Okay. So you will in the physical system. Okay. So you will start supplying input at t is equal to 0, right? You are not supplying any input, okay, before this time, before turning on time. Okay. So the causal system only exists for t greater than 0. Okay. Causal system will not exist, okay, will not exist for less than 0. Okay. All physical system, okay, every physical system, for example, amplifier, digital thermometer, digital heater, anything, okay, there are causal system, okay, because the output, okay, the output will only depend on the that instant, okay, value of the input. Okay, it will not be depending on the previous value or the future value of the input. So these are the causality. Then the second property of the continuous time system is invertibility. Okay. Invertibility defines that, for example, let's say we have input, okay, and the system is actually transforming this input to this form. Okay, so this is my output. So let's say I have an inverse of this system. Okay, now let's say if I multiply with this system, now my final output, let's say this is y1, so the y2 system will be like this, k x of t multiply with 1 over k, this will be cancelled out and I have this. Okay, so if there is a system such that, okay, there is a system such that k, it has an inverse 1 over k, so that I can get the output in the form of input. I can get output in the form of input. Then that system will be invertible because it has inverse of the system. Okay, so this is one property. Another very important property, just quickly check whether our system is invertible or not, is that the distinct input will result in distinct output. Okay, distinct input. Distinct means unique input. If you are supplying unique input, so you will get a unique output. So if you are getting the distinct input is giving you distinct output, unique output, okay, then your system will be invertible. Okay, in that case your system will be invertible. So if you want to check that whether your system is invertible or not, just check this thing. Okay, just supply, for example, two different inputs. Okay, if you are getting two different outputs, then your system will be invertible. Okay, I have one example for you guys to check that whether, so this was the amplified system. Okay, so we know that this is an invertible system. Let's say I have this system, this squaring system. Okay, that I have input x of t and this is my squaring system, and the output I am getting in the form of square. So we have to check that whether this system is invertible or not. Okay, so apply this rule, apply it to different distinct input and check if you are getting the two different unique different outputs. If you are getting, your system will be invertible. If not, your system is not invertible. So practice this thing and we will solve this inshallah during the live session. The next property is a bounded system, bounded input and bounded output. Okay, it means like let's say we have this system. Okay, it means if your input is bounded means, okay, let me take the same example of the amplifier. For example, if you are supplying input within one range, okay, this is the amplitude of the input, this is bounded, okay, within a range. The input is within a range, it's not going like approaching towards infinity. okay. And if you are getting the bounded output, okay, although like for example the amplifier, it amplifies and now the value is high, okay, for example k times a, okay, minus k times a, like for example this is 2 and this has become 10, okay, but still this output is bounded, okay. So if you are supplying a bounded input and you are getting the bounded output, the system will be BIBO stable. Our system will be bounded input, bounded output, stable, okay. So for every BIBO stable system, okay, your BIBO input will provide a BIBO output, okay. Bounded input will provide a bounded output, okay. In mathematical form we say that the magnitude of our input, okay, is less than infinity, okay. For example here the magnitude is 2, okay, it's a bounded, a fixed value within a range value, okay. And we are getting a output magnitude, for example here we are getting 10, this is also less than infinity, it's a bounded value within a range value, okay. So the stability of the continuous time system is very important, very important. For example, if you are just supplying a battery input of 3.7 volt to your iPod, okay, so your output should be bounded, okay, you should get a specific value of the output, okay, within a range for the charging of your system. But if you are getting that output out of the range, okay, for example infinite volt, then what will happen? Your iPod, your phone, your laptop, it's gone, it will catch fire, okay, and it will be disaster. So the stability of the system is very important, okay. Now to check for the BIBO stability, so for all the inputs you should get a bounded output, even for particular, for a single input, okay, even for a single input you are getting unbounded output, your system will not be stable, okay. A very common example, okay, of the unbounded system is for example tangent system, okay. For example you are providing input and your system is taking tangent of that and you are getting tangent of x, okay. So we know that so this is the typical graph of the tangent. So at pi over 2 the value will become infinity, right? So when the input x is pi over 2, your output is becoming infinity. You are having a bounded input, okay, but your output is become infinity, unbounded. So this system is not unstable or unstable, okay. So bounded input, bounded output. So the next property, very important property of the continuous time system is time invariance, okay. Time invariance means, for example, you are supplying input x of t and you are getting output y of t, okay. Now if you provide a shift in the input, for example now you are supplying input, this shifted input, now you should get the same shift at the output, okay. You are supplying some shift in the input, you should get the same shift at the output. If you are getting same shift at the output, your system is time invariant. Your system is not changing. Invariant means not changing, okay, with the change in the input characteristics, okay. You are supplying simple input, you are getting simple output. You are supplying shifted input, you are getting the shifted output. For example, you are supplying this shifted output, so you will get the same shifted, you are supplying shifted input, you will get the same shifted output, okay. So the characteristics of the systems are not changing, okay, with respect to the input, okay. So if your system is exhibiting such characteristics, our system will be time invariant, okay. For example, let's take one example. Let's say y of t is e की power x of t, okay. Now to check that whether our system is bounded or not, the time invariant, okay. So the first thing is, what we can do, we make change in the input, okay. We make change in the input of the system, okay. So if we are making change in the input, okay, for example, I shift the input to the t minus t naught. Okay, if I shift in the input, in that case, so basically what I am doing, I am changing this input to this shifted value. In that case, my output will be e to the power x of t minus t naught, right? So I just change the input with the shifted version. Okay, so I bring a change in the input, I am getting this output. Now let's say I bring the same change in the output. Okay, I shifted the time, remember I shifted the time with this value. So now let's change the same, bring a same change in the output. So t minus t naught. If I bring same change in the output, okay, so basically what I am doing, I am changing the t with the t minus t naught. So wherever function I am having t, it will be changed to t minus t naught. So see here, if you bring a change in the input, okay, you are getting this output. If you bring a change in the output, you are getting this output. Your output is same. Okay, so whether you bring a change in the input or you bring a same change in the output, your output result will not be changing. So this system is time invariant. This system is time invariant. Okay, so this is another example. Let's say we have this system, e is power minus t and x of t. Okay, so check whether this system is time variant or invariant. This is your practice and we will solve this in the live session. Okay, time invariance, this is very important property of the continuous time system. And the last property of the continuous time system is linearity. Okay, linearity means it's actually basically summation of the two properties, additivity and homogeneity. Additivity means, for example, if you are with input x1 you are getting output y1, and with another input x2 you are getting an output y2. Okay, now if you supply the both input together, okay, your output should be sum of your individual outputs. Okay, that is called additivity property. Okay, so instead of like with one input you are getting one output, with the different you are getting different output. Now if you add both of them and supply one time, then your output will be actually the summation of your individual inputs. Okay, this is called additivity. And the homogeneity is, okay, for example, this is my input x1. So now if I multiply with an integer, okay, for example 2x1, so the same thing will be reflecting in the output. Okay, this is called homogeneity. And if you combine both of them, so if you combine, for example, you multiply the first input with the a1 and you multiply the second input with a2, then in that case your output will be same. A1 will be multiplied with the y1 and a2 will be multiplied with the y2. So if your system is exhibiting this property, this is called linear system. Okay, so these are some properties of the continuous time system. Okay, so this is one example that we have to check that whether this system y of t sin of t into x of t, okay, we will checking all properties. Okay, that whether this system is memory less or with memory. Okay, we will check the memory property, we will check the causality property of this system, we will check the invertibility of this system, we will check the stability of this system, we will check the time invariance of this system, whether it is time variant or time invariance, and we will check the linearity of this system. Okay, so practice if you can this example, or we will solve this example in the live session. And this is very important example. We will be trying all properties. Okay, we will be checking that whether this system is actually fulfilling which property. Okay, that's the end of this chapter. Thank you very much for your time.